This week, I thought I'd bring you along and show you what our family of 7 had for dinner. You'll see me try something new, rush around the kitchen cooking for both my family and a meal train, and make plenty of those nourishing, delicious meals we come back to time and time again. I hope it inspires your own family dinners and reminds you to bring a little joy into cooking for the people you love. Let's get started. Hello, welcome back. I am excited to show you what we ate for dinner this week. We started our first week of homeschool for the year, and it went great. We had so much fun. I was thinking that the first week would be a huge adjustment because we're using a new curriculum. I shared a video about what curriculum we're using if you're interested. I thought that the week would be an adjustment period and that it would take a while for me to kind of figure it out. But no, it actually went very smoothly. Once we started, you just kind of figure it out, and it went great. So for today's meal, I plan to do chili because chili for us is typically a meal that I can make quickly. I feel like it's pretty easy and simple. And then along with that, I made a savory cornbread. Since this was our first day of school, I just wasn't sure how much time I would have to be in the kitchen, and that's why I wanted something that I knew I could whip up quick. My family prefers a Texas chili, which if you don't know just means that it doesn't have beans. It's just basically all meat. Beans don't, sit well with everyone in my family, so sometimes a Texas chili is the way to go. And the cornbread recipe is a new one for me. It's from the Prairie Homestead Cookbook by Jill Winger. So we tried that, and spoiler alert, we loved it. It was very, very yummy. To walk you through that process, I first, thanks to my mock meal, ground some popcorn kernels to make the cornmeal. I added flour, salt, baking powder to a bowl and then whisked that up together. Then I added in the cornmeal, mixed all of my wet ingredients, added those to the dry ingredients, and then I shredded some cheddar cheese and folded that in. I greased a cast iron skillet, and then I added the batter and put it in the oven, and it was so good. Now for the Texas chili, it's very simple. I just add oil to the pot, diced onions, garlic cloves. I let that sweat a little bit and then add the ground beef. I brown the beef, then add in all of the tomatoes and the seasonings, tomato paste, and then the broth. I don't add all of the broth that the recipe recommends just because we kind of like it thicker. But it always blows my mind how much seasoning you add to chili. It feels like so much, but it always tastes delicious. This is something all of my family loves because you can personalize it however you like. You can just be someone that adds tons of cheese or sour cream, or you could have jalapenos and sauerkraut. Typically, my kids just stick to the cheese and sour cream, but me and my husband like to make it a little more exciting. With chili, it seems like it's better the longer you let it simmer. So I usually like to make this maybe an hour or 30 minutes beforehand, so it has a lot of time for the flavors to develop. Also, if you look at my clock anytime during this week, my clock was wrong the entire week by a few hours, so it is not 2:16. Maybe it's 4. I don't know. Our power went out today, which is why the time is so behind. But it was fun because then we brought out all the candles we could find for homeschool, and that just makes it even more exciting for the kids. Hey guys, I have a question. Louder, how was work today? So please tell me below what toppings you love to use on your chili. We have sour cream, cheese. I pickled some jalapenos. We have sauerkraut and avocado. Also, does cornbread count as a topping or a side? Let me know down below. My son Wilder and I went on a date this past Saturday, and we always go to the same coffee shop, and then we usually do something else like go to Costco or Aldi, and then we go to the same thrift store. And I don't know what's been going on, but at this thrift store lately, we have been hitting it. We have been getting such good things every single week. And this week, I found the most beautiful dishes a full set, like 40 something pieces of like 8 dinner plates, 8 salad plates, 8 saucers, 8 mugs, 8 bowls, a salt and pepper shaker. Like it was just an amazing deal. Such a good find. And you will see throughout this whole week how much I love this set because I think we use the bowls for dinner every night. It's one of those things that I could be tempted to try to, put up on a shelf where no one can touch it. We never use it. We just keep it beautiful until I die. But they're so beautiful, I want to use them. And that is one of the beautiful things about thrifting. I don't have that burden of feeling like I spent so much money on something, so I have to take really, really good care of it. If one of the bowls break, it's fine. I spent probably like less than $1 for the bowl. I hate the pressure of feeling like I have to spend my life taking care of my material things. And the kids feel that pressure too. Something I'm always praying is that I would have my priorities in the right place and that I would prioritize loving and enjoying my children and being patient and kind and gentle and just showing all of the fruit of the Spirit to them and prioritize that over material things like a clean home or dishes that aren't broken or whatever. Today is Tuesday. For today's meal, we are having Taco Tuesday. And this is by far my favorite meal. It is just the best meal. It's earlier in the day right now, and my daughter is doing homeschool. And while she is doing some stuff on her own, I am making these sourdough tortillas. So these are fresh milled tortillas with soft white wheat, and I just added sourdough discard to them. I'll include the recipe below, and I'll include any of the recipes in this video that I can find. For the fat in this recipe, I actually just happen to have this Wagyu beef tallow in my pantry that I got on a carnivore kick, and anytime I make tortillas I just use that, and it's delicious. Also, the only thing in my garden that the deer seem to leave alone, besides some flowers and stuff, but the only food item is jalapenos. I had a few jalapenos on hand and I decided to do a quick pickle for those, and I'm so glad I did. It was so delicious. Now I don't have any jalapenos because I used them all, and I feel like I'm gonna have to start buying a lot to have pickled jalapenos on hand because it is just such a nice touch to everything we ate this week. So to pickle the jalapenos, I just put vinegar, water, salt, a couple bay leaves, and some peppercorns in a saucepan. And then just let that boil, and then added all of the jalapenos to it, set it aside, let it sit for maybe 15 minutes, and then I just put it in a jar. And that's that, quick pickle. Next, I sauteed some peppers and onions. I just add a little oil to the pan, add the onions, the peppers, and then I just salt and pepper them. I don't really add a ton of seasoning to the pepper and onions because I add so much seasoning to the meat that I feel like I just like them kind of plain. For the meat, if I could afford it, I would do flank steak every single time, but that would be pretty pricey. So we just use grass-fed beef. If you know, you know. Grass-fed beef is basically the same price as conventional beef, so might as well buy the grass-fed. So that's what I'm using tonight. I just season it with, from most to least, chili powder, paprika, cumin, garlic powder, salt and pepper. We did reach a point where we started having tortillas so much that it made sense to get a tortilla press, and it's amazing. I've seen many people recommend using a plastic bag, like a Ziploc bag, to keep your tortillas from sticking to the tortilla press. I just prefer a piece of parchment paper. Why? I don't know. I guess I'm just more used to parchment paper. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just putting all of the balls on the tortilla press, pressing them. I kind of have like a flow going. The cast iron skillet is already warmed up on the stove. I put a tortilla into the cast iron skillet. Then while that's cooking, I start pressing the other one. Then I make sure I flip the one on the cast iron skillet. Then I take it off the cast iron skillet. Then I replace it with a new one, and I just do it over and over until all of the tortillas are cooked. I'm preparing all of the toppings, which feels very similar to the night before. We have cheddar cheese, sauerkraut, salsa, more pickled jalapenos, some yogurt, and now I'm making a quick guacamole. For guacamole, I like to make a simple guacamole. I usually don't have things to make like a pico de gallo on the spot all the time. So what I like to do is just do avocados, salt, and lemon juice, and that's it. Because I always have those things on hand, and it's delicious. I love it. Honestly, I probably like it better than a guacamole with pico de gallo. I don't know. I just feel like it's really good, and it goes with everything. Hey, you're still at work? Okay, that's fine. I just finished making dinner, so I guess we'll just eat without you.
Yeah, I basically can't wait until 6:15 because that's when traffic starts dying down.
Now I am assembling everyone's tacos. So all of my kids basically just wanted a tortilla, beef, cheese, and that's it. Well, I think only one of them wanted like guacamole. For me and my husband, I do all the toppings. So salsa, peppers, beef, sauerkraut, guacamole, yogurt, the pickled jalapenos. This is it's just the best meal. And if you notice, a few meals this week, I'm using beef and then all of the same toppings. And it's just funny how you can season food differently, maybe change up a few small things, and use a lot of the same ingredients, but it still switches it up just enough where it feels different, but it's still so yummy. For dessert tonight, I was craving something sweet all day, and I just whipped up some milk and protein powder, and that was my dessert. This satisfies my sweet tooth, and I just really enjoy it. It's like adult chocolate milk, so don't knock it till you try it. I can link the protein powder down below that we use. It's grass-fed whey, it's very clean. Honestly, I ordered the Ballerina Farms protein powder, and it was so delicious, but this one tastes basically the same, and it's a lot cheaper, so you should try it. Hey, boop, boop. So right there, I was being a little dramatic, explaining to my husband how busy I am right now, just running around. I hadn't worked out in a few days, and today I just needed to go to the gym. We basically have a decent gym in our garage, which I'm very thankful for, but I've just learned that my workouts, when I actually go to a gym, are so much more efficient and effective because I'm not distracted at all. When I'm working out in our garage at home, it's very easy for me to be like, oh, let me go check on the bread in the oven between a set, or let me go get the laundry out of the dryer really quick after this set, and I'll just get distracted. But when I go to the gym, I am just 100% focused on working out. So today I was like, I need to go to the gym, but I also had a meal train that night and had to make dinner for my own family. So I went to the gym, ran home, immediately started working on the meal train meal, and then after that, working on my own. Since I'm making the same meal, I could have made it simpler and done it all in one pot, but I was just so focused on making sure that I got the meal train meal done on time so they weren't having dinner too late, that I just wanted to prioritize their meal, and then while my husband delivers it, I'll start working on ours. So what I am making tonight is, first I am making the lasagna that I've shared before. I will still include the recipe in the description box below, but it's just Joanna Gaines Dutch oven lasagna. When I'm delivering it to people, I just put it in a foil container, but when I make it for my own family, which you'll see in a little bit, I just do it in our Dutch oven. Also, I decided to try something new. I have made homemade pasta quite a few times, but I've never made homemade lasagna noodles. So that's something I tried tonight, and I'll just go ahead and tell you that it was delicious, and I'll definitely do it in the future. It was so easy. Honestly, probably easier than making pasta because you don't really have to like cut them or anything. Before we get into that though, for the meal train meal, I'm just making the food that I typically do. I'm making the lasagna, and then I'm starting cookies for them. So I make fresh milled chocolate chip cookies. I'll also leave that recipe below. And I love this recipe because it's fresh milled, so it's like extra healthy, but then it's also the most delicious chocolate chip cookie recipe I found with fresh milled flour. I'm also trying to go as fast as I can because I want to make sure I wasn't late getting their meal to them. So I'm kind of just zooming through things, not cleaning up as well as I normally would. Another well-known fact about me around my peers is that I am chocolate chip cookie obsessed, and I have so many different chocolate chip cookie recipes that I use. I have one that's kind of like the Broma bakery cookies, that's really like gooey on the inside and big. And then I have maybe my favorite, which is from Bon Appetit, and it's like a brown butter chocolate chip cookie. I also use the Joanna Gaines chocolate chip cookies, and those are just really like simple, easy to throw together, and delicious. But then I also have them based off of like my lifestyle at the moment. So if I'm trying to like avoid super refined sugars, then I have my chocolate chip cookies with coconut sugar. And if I'm even avoiding coconut sugar, then I have my chocolate chip cookie recipe with maple syrup. No matter what phase of life, I have a way to have a chocolate chip cookie. And I just hope that that inspires you guys today. I hope that that's what you walk away from this video with, is that you should just always have a chocolate chip cookie. Anyways, for this salad, I actually was out of Ziploc bags. Usually I'll put the salad in a bag, but I just added all of the toppings to the container that the salad came in. And, I'm sure it was fine. I also made some homemade ranch dressing really quick. We were also out of mayonnaise, so first I had to make some homemade mayonnaise, then I made ranch dressing, and I put that in a little container for them that they could keep. And unfortunately, I didn't have any bread made, and I didn't have time to make bread, so I didn't include bread this time. But, lasagna, salad, cookies, I feel like that's good. So to make the mayonnaise, I just include a full egg, about a tablespoon of mustard, tablespoon of red wine vinegar, salt, pepper, lemon juice, and I think that's it. Then I get my immersion blender and I just blend that up, and then I slowly pour oil in while I'm blending. I use avocado oil. You could use, I've used butter before. You could also use olive oil, but I wouldn't do it all olive oil, because if you do, it tastes very strong. If you want to use olive oil, I would maybe use half olive oil with some other type of oil like avocado oil, just because the olive oil flavor is very strong. Then to make the ranch dressing, I feel like I've made that a few times already on this channel. Mayonnaise, sour cream, dill, salt, pepper, garlic, onion. And for the salad, I just like to do a simple salad. So I just do lettuce, cucumber, tomato, and then ranch dressing. If I was like trying to make a meal out of a salad, I would add a lot more, but since it's more of just like the vegetable for the actual meal, then I just keep it simple. Right now, I'm making the homemade lasagna noodles. This is so simple. I just added a cup of flour, 2 eggs, and then a half teaspoon of salt. Mixed it all together, just kneaded it until it was a smooth ball, and then put it in a plastic bag and put it in the fridge to rest for about 30 minutes. You can also make it ahead of time, but I just had the time to make it right then. Now, while that's resting, I'm working on our lasagna. I already started the beef, tomatoes, garlic, onion, and all other seasonings on the stove. That's like our meat mixture. And then on the counter, I just mixed together the mozzarella, ricotta, cream cheese, and 2 eggs. I also seasoned that with salt, and then now I'm finishing up the noodles. So I read with lasagna noodles, if you're not boiling them first, then you want to make sure they're really thin. So on my KitchenAid attachment, I started off on the thickest setting, then I just skipped every other number. So I started at 8, then ran it through again at 6, then ran it through again at 4, and then ran it through again at 2. And once it was at 2, I just kept it like that for the pasta. I think different attachments work differently, so it might be the opposite on your attachment. And now I'm just layering the meat mixture, the homemade noodles, the cheese mixture, and then doing the same thing over and over again. So the meat, the noodles, the cheese, meat, noodles, cheese, etc. Until at the end, I just do a layer of shredded Parmesan cheese and then put it in the oven. Today we are having beef stew. I thought about making cornbread for this. I didn't really have much time, but what I really look for in a meal is just a protein, fat, and carb. I'm honestly not even strict about having a veggie at every meal, as long as there's just all of the macronutrients represented, specifically protein. So since there's already potatoes and carrots and whatever in this, I didn't really feel the need to provide an extra carb. First, I am browning the meat in the pot, and then once that's brown, I'll take it out. You're not supposed to overcrowd the meat, but realistically, I'm not going to do this in batches. I don't have time for that. So I just do my best. And then I add the onions and garlic and the red wine to that, and then let that cook down for about 10 minutes. While that's cooking, I'll go ahead and chop all of my vegetables. So it's just potatoes and carrots. This recipe also calls for mushrooms, but I didn't want to do mushrooms, so I didn't. Now to the pot, I am adding the chicken broth, the Worcestershire, tomato paste, and then I'll add the meat back in. Now I'm adding the seasonings, which is bay leaf, paprika, salt, pepper. The recipe calls for marjoram. I did not have that and I don't plan on buying it, so I just used oregano, which I read online. That's fine, just use a smaller amount, maybe like 2/3 the amount of marjoram that you would use. Then I'm adding my veggies and just letting that all simmer for a long time, ideally like an hour to let the meat get tender. Then once the beef stew is finished, don't forget to fetch out your bay leaves. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but someone will just end up with a bay leaf in their mouth, which I can't say hasn't happened here, so. And now I'm gathering all of those same toppings. So I'm getting out the sauerkraut, the yogurt, the cheddar cheese, pickled jalapenos. Another thing, I don't know if this actually tastes good or if it's just sentimental, but I love to add nutritional yeast to my beef stew. It's probably just sentimental. I don't know. You guys should try it and let me know what you think. I don't think this is a common thing, maybe it is, but let me know if you try it and if you like it because I'm curious. Thank you guys for joining me as I make dinner for my family of 7. These are all of our favorite meals that we come back to over and over. If you enjoy this kind of content, I would love it if you like and subscribe. I post videos every Tuesday and Thursday. I'll see you in the next one.